Welcome to Behind the Beards, the podcast where real estate gets real messy, real funny, and sometimes just downright unpredictable. I'm Josh.
And I'm Nate. We're pulling back the curtain on the world of real estate. Whether you're an agent, industry professional, client, or you're just here for the chaos, you're in the right place. This is a real estate talk. All right, let's get into it. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well, man. Ready a busy morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to talk about the work-life balance or lack thereof in real estate and how it relates to our business, each day business activities, if you will. And then, we're not always working, even though it feels like that, as I'm sure you can attest to as well. It's just nice to kind of bring it all out. So whether you're an agent, you're working in you're self-employed, right? Just maybe a self-employed business owner, maybe in any industry. And obviously for the clients that are tuning in, what does it look like on a daily basis, right? Because it's not just like, I've got my schedule set for a whole week and I'm doing this from this block of time and this block of time. And we deal a lot with schedule blocking, but you kind of have these things. So here's how I do it. I kind of have these items that are kind of not negotiable in every week's schedule day by day. But you also have the hot client that calls up and says, hey, I need to see this, or I need you to come by, or I need you to take this meeting on Tuesday, and it's Monday at 3:00. I think that's where, it's really tough to really iron that all out. Today, let's talk about how that kind of looks for us, and let's have some fun with it. Maybe we got some specific stories, and I'll let you kind of chime in here because I think even this week it happened to us. We've talked about this, right? So yeah.
I think people don't realize how unstructured our business can be if we don't structure it. And even if we do structure it, there's still things that happen, right? Like, I could get a call at any hour of the day saying, hey, I'm a $3-4 million buyer. I want to see it at 5 p.m. Can you accommodate? It's like, yeah, I could accommodate, right? Like, you have to figure it out. We're not a 9-to-5 schedule, right? We don't just know exactly. Like, sure, most days we'll know what we're planned like a few days in advance, but we're not physicians that clock in at 8 and no matter what, they know what patients are coming in and whatnot. And as soon as it's, 6:00, they go home. They might be on call and whatnot, but we're so on call, like it's called, we're always on call. That's what I feel like. I'm always on call. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I could have a full, 10-hour day and then come home and still be on the phone. Right. And my wife doesn't work. She does work. She's a stay-at-home mom, and
that's definitely a full-time job as well, right?
Yep. It's the operation manager of the house, and it's really hard in my business to have a work-life balance, right? Because you have to set a time aside for family time as well, right? So I'm still constantly working on that. There's times, as of even yesterday, like I was constantly on my phone, and it's like I'm doing work. I'm not scrolling on Instagram, right? But it's like there has to be time. So I'm always working on this, right? Like when I'm going through my day, and if it's after work hours, right? Like at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, like if I'm having dinner, I'm working on putting my phone away, right? I feel like I'm always glued to my phone because I don't know how realtors did business without phones back in the day, but I'm glued to my phone. If I don't have my phone, I can't work. I really can't, right? I mean, I could, if I remember what my appointments are without looking at my calendar, I can show up to those appointments. But it's amazing how in this day and age, the phone for self-employed people, or even without self-employed people, we're glued to these things, right? And throw it in an unstructured business where you're structuring it yourself and you don't have someone saying, where are you for work? You're doing everything. And you want to balance your work life with your family and kids and t-ball and school pickups and everything. It's tough. And if I told you that I have it all figured out, I'd be lying to you. I've been doing this for 12 years. You've been in the business over 25 years. I know you have a little kid. I got a second on the way. We're resetting the clock. It's only going to get harder. So I think you just learn how to make it work, right? It's like I was telling you, the other day, that our wives signed up for this, right? We're not physicians, but we make physician money, right? And it just comes with some cons, right? It's sacrifices that we make in our lives for our family.
I got to tell you, I think it's just great stuff, and I'll just kind of go to a great comment here. It's utter chaos. Is what it is. It takes a special person. We're not going to pat ourselves on the back too much here. Well, maybe we will.
I will.
Yeah. I mean, go for it. There you go. Because here's the deal. Okay, you wake up, you've got these set things in your schedule, and then you get someone that calls you and says, "Hey, I need you to do this right away. Can you please fit me in? Can you do this?" You take a look at your schedule and you see that hour block of time and you
Right.
go, "Well, hey, that was supposed to be, gosh, I was really hoping to take just a little mental break there."
Right.
Right? Believe it or not, we schedule mental breaks in our
Yeah.
schedule. I don't know if you
Right.
do that, but I
Yeah.
do, because if not, I'm a crazy person and I'm
Yeah.
already pretty high energy,
Yeah.
right? So when someone calls and it's human nature, not just being a real estate agent, but it's human nature when someone calls you and it's like, here's the day, come meet me. You got to come show me today. And you're like, well, can't we do it this time? No, like I'm leaving. I'm going to be taking a flight, whatever that person's saying. And all of a sudden in your brain, you're going, ooh, am I missing out on some income for my family? Who depends on me? Who's doing it? And in my situation, my wife is also self-employed and we have a 4-year-old. Now take something that sounds really easy, which is get home from your appointments, knowing you still have 5-6 hours of work you could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So maybe you got a Zoom call at 8:30 with someone, right? Because they work during the day, right? And the only time they can talk to you is at night. And then picture that in your mind when you're on your phone and your kiddo and your family wants your time, regardless of what your family situation is at home. And now you just feel like, oh, I'm here, but I'm not really. So I think what is interesting about this is also, let's talk about this, because I think you and I are very much on the spot with our clients.
Yeah.
But I'll share a time where, like this, one of my listings, right? Someone will show up to it, right? And they'll go, "Hey, it's me. It's Cindy. Okay, hi Cindy. Yeah, I'm in front of your property. Can you come show it to me now?"
Yeah.
How many times has that happened to you, right?
All the time.
And you're like, "Cindy, I can't because I'm doing X, Y, and Z." But what's interesting is you might go get in the car and show Cindy, or you might have at some point in time, any realtor, not just you or I, if you were like, "Well, I am just sitting here watching the game, even though this is the only time I could watch the game." Or maybe you're at the park with your kiddo and you're like, "Yeah, I could put the kiddo." You're thinking to yourself in your head, "I could put the kiddo in the car. I'll go show my property real quick. Yeah, why not?"
Exactly.
But it's almost like that is the hardest thing, I think, for successful agents to do, is say, "I'm just not available. It doesn't matter what I'm doing." Whether
Totally.
that would seem unimportant to you, someone standing outside the front who didn't make an appointment, who didn't value my time. Well, guess what? Even if I am watching the game or I'm swimming in my pool or whatever I'm doing, I'm not coming to meet you for that. We could set up another time.
Absolutely. And I think it's all about setting boundaries, right?
That's right.
When I was a newer agent, or in the first few years, call it, and if someone called me and I was doing something with family or whatnot, I would jump, right? You tell me to jump, I'll say how high. Like I can't miss that opportunity, right? But and it also goes like our jobs are not Monday through Friday. It's 7 days a week, right? It's like, so it's
Yep.
I work a full week, Monday through Friday. And then I have 2 new listings hitting the market that I need to be at one of them on Saturday for the Saturday open house. And I need to be at the other one on Sunday. And then there's multiple agents that can't make the open house. So they want to come before the open house or after the open house. So I have
Right.
there's some weeks where Monday through Sunday, like full time, that's like an 80-hour week. So, to my wife and my kid, it's like, oh, daddy's working Monday through Friday, but it's also, now it's the weekend. It's like, there's not even a weekend. It just gets erased. And then comes Monday, it's the next thing. So it's hard. You got to schedule boundaries, right? And, thank God we have teams, so with multiple listings, I'll promise you this, if my son has a T-ball game, I'm not missing that stuff.
No,
Right?
absolutely not.
Not. There are agents out there that I'm sure do, or maybe they have help or a nanny or whatnot. That's not how I want to raise my family. So, there's definitely things that boundaries we have to put into place. Yes, that call comes in on Cindy. "Oh, I'm outside your front house. Hi, Cindy. I appreciate your call. I'm actually going to be unavailable for the next 2 hours, but I can fit you in at 4 o'clock." Like,
Right.
make it, we're not just robots here. We don't just go. It's how you schedule and put boundaries also in place with people.
And, just a very honest topic here, right? Because I think what happens is, I can tell you the other day, right? I schedule, right? And there's certain things in the schedule. And I was actually telling my wife the other day, she was saying, "Hey, let's build your schedule out for the week," right? And as we're building it, oh yeah, I forgot that. Okay, I got to get back to that person. Okay, cool.
Right.
because it's impossible to schedule every single thing and then be flexible, which you don't want to be too flexible, but you do have to be a little flexible to be in the right spot, right timing, within reason is kind of how I like to say it, right? And then let's just talk about this too. And maybe, I don't think everybody, but there's maybe a fair amount of people out there that see whether you're self-employed, as a real estate agent, you own your own business, you run a restaurant, whatever it is, right? And they go, gosh, it must be nice to do what you love and work for what you. Be careful, because I've also been on the corporate side of things, right? And it's nice to have a quitting time and cutting time, but then you have unlimited income potential and you can consistently grow. But the flip side to that is you have to schedule your free time.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know that. That's what we do. Vacations, well, there's been years that I haven't taken one, for everybody out there that's looking at that. Josh, you probably have had that too.
Totally.
But you have to schedule your free time. So this brings me to another point that I think we should just say when we talk about work-life balance, right? We could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we do that sometimes, some weeks, right? But at the same time, that's another reason and this is to the clients out there, because this is to help everybody involved in the whole real estate process, all of the players. And that is, if somebody gets in their car or when you call outside the front of the house, right, and they come over and show you the house, this is for clients, or you notice that someone's a little more busy and they're giving you some times during the week. And if you say to a successful agent that's probably going to be your best agent that you're going to want to work with, and you value their time, work with the one who doesn't just show up after you call them from the sign, because the truth is they got nothing else going on.
100%.
You want to be selective with who you work with. Who you work with matters. We say this all the time, right? And I think you as a client, you owe it to yourself to work with someone that's going to do that. And that also goes along with how we are compensated.
Yeah.
There's a reason I'm not going to take you out on a buyer broker agreement at 1%.
Yeah.
Not doing it. I've done the hours. I've done the math. You as the client, you should understand what you're paying for, the compensation you're paying. And you should understand that if somebody says to you, I'm not going to list your house for 1.75%, I'm going to do 2.5 or 3 if you're doing some staging. Well, that's a different topic for another day. You should really think hard about not what the compensation is, but what you're going to net by working with that agent.
Yeah.
Very important, because those of us are talking about scheduling on our podcast. Those are the people you want as your professional, your knowledgeable person that's going to help you win in life.
At the end of the day, we don't just Cindy's not our only client.
No.
But Cindy's calling you. It doesn't matter if you're in the pool or if you're showing someone or if you're just doing personal stuff for your house. You're going to Ace Hardware or Home Depot. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. That's your time that you've separated from it. So it's funny how, I think there's few people like that, but there are people like that, right? Where they're like, oh, I'm at the listing. Didn't you have an open house? Well, yeah, the open house was from 1 to 4. You're calling me at 6:30. Like,
yeah,
people wanted me to come back. I said, no, the sellers are home. You could schedule an appointment with me maybe tomorrow if they can accommodate, right? So those boundaries are super important. And I think I like this episode, this topic too, because it will also teach the consumers and people who aren't in our industry, like what we do every single day. Like, number one, like the value of our commission, but that's on a side point. Like, we work our asses off, and like I don't think people understand how much we really work. Like, what time goes into each and every single transaction and each and every single week that we have to plan out ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And always working on that work-life balance. And this is just therapy for me too, because even talking about this, I'm like, you know what? When I come home tonight, like I'm trying to think of the things that I know I need to get an offer out. I know I need to schedule photos for a listing, but I'm going to not look at my phone from 7 to 8. I don't care who calls me, right? I'll call them back. Like, putting those mental things, like that's what we have to do, right? People who are in corporate, who, like I said before, 9 to 5, they come home at 5, their day's done until 9 in the morning, unless they have some homework that they have to do. So constantly working on it, and it keeps me on my toes. It really does.
The other thing that I work on since I've been doing this for so long is now, how do I respect my time and give it to other parts other than just clients and my business, right? And I think that's really hard. And no, this is like therapy, right? That's why we do these things for 100%. You and I, because we have tons of things that happen in a given week, and sometimes we're just like, what? Like, what is this? What is happening here today?
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're obviously the stories are going to keep rolling out, but I wanted to give another kind of example, right? Where when we're working hard on something, right? And someone says, maybe it's a client that's, you're negotiating some compensation, at some point, and this is something for clients to hear. I'm going to say it out loud. You need us more than we need you. There's enough business to go around for us. We're trying to offer up our time and make a partnership with our clients. And if you start to think that you know our job better than us, you're not curious, you're trying to negotiate something that, you heard your friend do because they were dealing with some other agent, it's okay. But we're not going to undercut our value, the amount of time we're going to spend hour by hour so that it affects our own personal lives. Yeah. So get a clue. I'm just going to say it out loud because this podcast is also for you to understand that when you go hire your best accountant, or you mentioned physician earlier in this call, right? The expectations that you have from us, we're going to show you the knowledge and expectations you should get, right? But when we fully commit and you commit and we decide to work together, right?
Right.
That's just like the relationship you have with your doctor. That's just like the relationship you have with your accountant or any other relationship that you value in life. And if we feel undervalued, then we'll go find someone else that values us to the echelon that we feel that's deserved. Right?
100%.
I want to say that out loud, right? And hopefully people can understand that because. For instance, we'll do one real quick thing here. If you're going on a listing and you're competing with realtors and you need you want it to be listed on their side at 2%, right? That's what your client's asking, and you're saying 2.5%. Do the math. A few $1,000s. The reason why you would deal with someone who's charging you a little more compensation on that side is because the net you're going to take home is far going to exceed that additional compensation that you're looking at on the front end. I'm going to get you more money on your property because I know more about the business than the agent that's giving away their compensation. Just a quick example there, right?
100%.
So the value of that goes along with the managing your time as a real estate agent, right? So
the my life work life balance as a realtor. Yeah. Also, yes, it has to do with mainly family and our personal and how do we mesh the two, but it also goes with our clients, right? There's a balance, I just wanted to mention that too. As when you're a new agent, you don't know how to set those boundaries because if someone's going through a divorce and the husband's in your ear about something or the wife's in there, it's like, I'm not your therapist, I'm your agent. So we're going to keep your divorce totally separate. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things in clients, like if there's new agents that are listening to this podcast, there's certain things that you're just going to learn from experience. But there's so many things that I've learned even over the past 2 years, and I've been doing this 12 years, just that I'll take for the rest of my career of boundaries. Okay, I worked with divorced clients last year and there was these issues. I need to set boundaries right off the bat. I'm here as your agent. I'm not. Yes, I could be a friend and I could be an ear, and a lot of the times we are. And we're almost like psychologists, right, in a way, but I'm not your therapist. And I don't need to talk about your divorce. I'm solely here to get you top dollar for your house and work at a really high level in order to get you those results. There's so many stories, and we could get on other episodes of how things happen, and then because that happened, I'll never make that mistake again in the future in regards to the boundaries that I set with my clients and expectations.
It's a great point. So even when you're working with a specific client is what you're saying, right? There'll be clients that'll literally, I had one a couple weeks ago. The whole week was taken up by this client. And even though in my head, in being through so many real estate transactions, his concerns were not as large as maybe, he would think, because he doesn't do this every day. But you still have to take that in and internalize it and help your client, right? And you could never say, well, hey, listen, what you're talking about is not important. It's really not that big of a deal, right? Yeah, you can never say that. Yeah. So it takes a tremendous amount of energy to still help that client. And that deal literally took up all week. I literally cleared my schedule because this person was so nervous. And I always say if you're not nervous, you're not normal. But this was more nervous than normal, right? I mean, this was like, and I wanted to help him because I knew it was a great deal that he was getting.
Yeah.
And sometimes, they just need you to be there and go the extra mile. And something that you do, I know very, very well. And by the way, can I just say this real quick? This topic is great because it's incredibly hard for someone like me to really set those boundaries and schedule and do it because I'm a people pleaser, right? But I've had to learn and teach myself. So this is something that people don't realize. This is getting deep, like psychological, right? But it's hard for me because I do want to hop in the car and go help people. I'm generally very helpful to people, right? Like I'm walking at the grocery store and I see an old woman with her groceries and she's, got her cart and it's sliding into her car. So would you like me to help you I can help you put those in the trunk, right? So that's a good example of like what I do. Now, when you go to real estate, people start picking, taking more. And then all of a sudden you're going, oh my gosh, what am I even doing here? I'm going way beyond the scope. And it's hard to pull it back for someone like me, but you have to find a way to do that or consistently work on doing that.
And I think it gets to a point where like I do so much, right, for each client, whether it's justified or not, right? Like you go above and beyond, but there's certain situations where it gets to a point where you're like you said, what am I doing here? Like why? I just had a 3-hour conversation with you about what your ex-husband did. And then like, it's so wasteful. Like I'm always there. I'm an ear. You could cry on my shoulder. I'll give you a big hug. I'm always there to try and help and go above and beyond. I was just mainly talking about like certain particular instances where now I know in the future how to deal with it. And like you said, I'm not going to say, nope, don't talk to me about your husband. It's not like that. It's just setting the boundaries right. I've been through that before. Like, let's just, instead of, hey, Josh, do you want a glass of wine? Like, and we could talk, like, instead of like putting myself in a situation to talk about someone's relationship, I don't have to put myself in that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to sit down and stay there for 3 hours and, I'll help you blow your leaves. Like, we're that type of people, right? But when you get to a point of when you're too much of a people pleaser, which I have been in certain instances, then they start to like walk all over you and you just can't do that to yourself. Like, we're solely here for a job, and the job is to get you the top dollar for your house and make it as seamless as possible for you.
It's a fine line, right? I mean, here, last little piece here I think is important. I consider my clients friends, but then there's some clients who aren't as like friends. Like I don't go, like you said, go have a glass of wine with them. Some of them I do, right? But it is hard for someone like us, and maybe this is easier for others than one might think. And I think this is also added on to why being a real estate agent is so hard. It's not opening doors and cashing checks. Those like planning in your head how maybe you're even going to approach a situation. Okay, like last time I was with this client, I had spent 3 hours with them. I cannot do that today, right? I got to get to this, or my family needs me, whatever it is. And so you almost have to set the boundaries. But then if you show up totally different than the last time you were there, right? How do you set the boundary?
No, so like it's not so much.
You could overthink so much, right? I mean, I think that's just useful to bring out into the world, So
totally, it's not so much like showing up different. It's just not. It's like I'm still going to show up the exact same way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like, if I see your trash cans out and like they haven't been brought in and you're at it, I'm gonna bring them in. Like, I'm not gonna not do those things. It's more so getting like really sucked into the family drama and stuff that like I shouldn't even be a part of. Yes, in our business, like the way we get clients is like building relationships, right? It's like it's literally like when you found your best friend that you had, like he didn't become your best friend that day, right? Like, I don't get the client on the call or at their door. It's constant nurturing and building rapport and providing value and doing services that don't necessarily have a monetary return, right, on it. But it's more so like just taking all the experiences that we've gone through. Each and every transaction is different. And like in the future, like the next transaction, if there's something that a light bulb goes off in my head, I'll be like, okay, don't involve yourself with that specific little thing. That's kind of like what I'm talking about, right? Like boundaries, right? It's just boundaries. There's boundaries in life. There's boundaries in work. There's boundaries with clients. It's boundaries with your family. It's just, it's constantly evolving and you're constantly trying to figure it out.
And this topic's great because it kind of comes off when people say it must be nice to make your own schedule. Well, it is, but it's not. At the same time, it is, but it's not at all, right? All right, well, great topic today, Josh. I always enjoy our conversations. Time to head into our rapid fire question. Ooh, check out this technology we got here, buddy. Here we go. It's going to be up. We'll see what it is, and
what is it?
Let's get our answer.
Oh, what do you always keep in your car? You go. Yeah. You go first on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll take off the glasses for this one because. So first of all, if anyone stole my car, they would automatically know right away what I do for a profession because I've got the Realtor survival kit in the trunk. In fact, whenever we have groceries, like, can we put it in the little compartment? No, you can't because there's a bunch of crap in there, right? So. We've got, sale pending riders, the booties, the lock boxes, paper towels, a hand sanitizer, gosh, masks still, even though we don't need to wear them. Sometimes, sometimes I go into houses that are a little roughed up, right? If I have like a hoarder situation, man, what do you have in your car, man? Go, get the list.
You listed a lot of them. Pre-pandemic, our cars would look a little bit different, right? Now
like a doctor's office.
Yeah, I have so many booties in my trunk. It's disgusting. They're clean. I have to take the old ones and toss them, and then some of them you can throw in the wash and whatnot. I have endless amounts of hand sanitizer because nowadays you touch someone else's doorknob, you just spray your hand. All the things you mentioned, I have that in my car. I have 12 signs in my trunk. My frunk in the Tesla is full. So to your point. Hey, babe, can we put the No, I have tape measures and this and that.
That's a good one too.
I could also have my golf bag in my trunk with the signs and my tennis bag and a change of clothes and shoes, and I find so much stuff in my car. But there is one thing that I've always kept in my car is kind of like a little like a fear of mine always is like, what happens? God forbid I fall down a cliff or something or into like a lake and I'm sinking and it's just maybe it's like a little
I like where this is going. I don't know where you're going with this, but anxiety, I like it. Keep going.
And I want to be able to get out of my car, right? So I have this metal, this heavy duty, right? This thing could kill someone. Heavy duty metal screwdriver, but the head I'm very confident that if I hit my window with the bottom of it, it will break the screen or something. It will make it easier for me to escape.
Get out.
So I always have that little tool kind of in my cubby on the off chance that I go down a hill or I go into the bay. Electric car, is the window going to work when you put it down?
Totally.
I don't want to take that risk, dude. And I don't know how strong my kick is to the front windshield. I want to make sure I get out of that thing so I can make it back home to see my kids.
I'll tell you the pressure of that. Now this is getting into science maybe, or the pressure of the door, even if you have the water on it. So, my wife used to have in her car, I'm not sure what we did with that thing, but, she used to have something specifically for that. So I don't know if she also had a fear. We'll have to ask her, but that's interesting. And again, I think, having these fun questions is always something funny because there's always a story behind it. So that's good, buddy.
Totally. I love it. I've had clients and family friends roll down cliffs. Not that they needed to use a device to get out. They could open their door and get out. It's really the fear of just, I don't know, if I fall into a lake, how am I getting out of my car? I need to be able to get out. I don't have an eject button. I wish I had just an eject button and parachute and go out. But that's
something that would definitely affect your work-life balance. And so just for all the agents out there, I think some key takeaways here. Your schedule should be full, should be busy, or else you're not maximizing what you're supposed to do and what you need to do to earn a great income and service many clients in this business. But also the setting of boundaries and scheduling your own time and your free time there is also very important so that you can run a sound business. You're fresh. You're not burning out. I think for the clients out there, work with someone who gives you that quality time, who's, not always just jumping at the last moment. Be respectful of each other's time because that creates a great harmonious relationship that's always going to equal better decision making, taking your time with information and sticking to the process that works, right? Always good to be with you, Josh. I'll go ahead and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in to Behind the Beards. If you enjoyed today's episode, do us a favor. Subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with someone who would enjoy what you've heard here today.
You can also connect with us on social media or send us one of your own real estate confessions. Who knows? You might just hear it on the next episode.
We'll catch you next time, where we keep it real, keep it honest, and always behind the beards.